Okay, I'm just getting this all set up. I think I'm live, right? Hello, hello, hello. Okay. So today, let's see if I can get some a little bit more light. Okay. I know this isn't the best light situation, but I'm gonna see if I can fix that a little bit. Oh, that works. If you open up the shades, it gets brighter in here. Imagine that. So, let's see. Okay, today I'm going to answer some of your questions that I have received. So, let's get to it, I suppose. One question that I had was from Kathleen Macelis, asking if I have any favorite devotions for holy hours. So, I don't get to holy hours as much as I would like to. Yeah, not very much. So, you can't see anything. Let's see if I can do this again. Is it working now? Let's see, is it working? Andrew says he couldn't see me. Can you guys see me? Am I on? Hello. To refresh. Okay, so you can see and hear me, Pamela. Awesome. Okay, so today I'm going to be answering some questions, and I wrote down a bunch of the questions I've received. Actually, every time somebody comments anywhere, like on my videos, about a question topic, I write them on note cards, so I've got lots of different note cards. So I'm going to start answering some of the questions I've got, and if you have any more questions, pop them in the chat and I can answer them as well. So one of the first questions I'm going to answer was Kathleen Macelis asked if I have any favorite devotions for holy hours. Well, I don't get to holy hours very often because we only have adoration once a month where I live, and it's during the school day when I'm at work, so it's a little tricky sometimes to get to adoration. But when I do go to adoration, I usually have a stack like this with me. I usually have my Bible, my New Testament and Psalms, because I love this version. It's awesome. I talked about this Bible when I did my Find a Bible video, so that's awesome. It's a great little Bible. I carry it with me, usually when I'm like leaving my house. I have two books that are specifically on adoration. I have Praying in the Presence of Our Lord, which is for prayers for Eucharistic adoration, and then I have The Visits to the Blessed Sacrament and the Blessed Virgin by Alfonso Liguori. And both of these are great books. They have a variety of different prayers in and different types of meditations for holy hours. So that's really a lot of fun to have these two. I don't always do the whole, whatever it says for the whole devotion. Sometimes, like the way the Visits to the Blessed Sacrament is set up is each visit is numbered. And as you go through each visit, it tells you what like prayers you could say and stuff. So I like that one, but I don't always do the visits in order because my schedule is so weird sometimes about when I get to adoration. I also usually have this little book with me. It's St. Jose Maria Escriva's The Way. I really like this little one. It's just a lot of little short sayings by him that he told people all the time, and I keep this one with me. I actually had this one with me when we had confessions at the church when the second grade had their first confessions, so it was like the confession service. We had more than one priest at our parish, and I read out of The Way while I was waiting for confession. I usually sometimes have Imitation of Christ by Thomas à Kempis with me as well when I go to adoration because I enjoy reading out of it. I've read the whole thing already multiple times probably, but I do like the Imitation of Christ, especially when I'm sitting in front of the Blessed Sacraments. Okay. And then this is a new book I'm just starting. So this is going to be, speaking of tip there, It is the Manual for Spiritual Warfare book. I have just started it. I'm hoping that it's going to be really great, so that's awesome. Yeah, so that's what I usually have for adoration, and I always take my rosary with me. I usually start adoration by praying a rosary, because there's like, I can't remember who said it, but there's somebody some psychologist or something said that it takes 10 to 15 minutes for the adult brain to focus on a new activity, or for kids' brains to slow down from whatever they were doing when they're going into a church. So I always pray my rosary, so by the time I'm done with my rosary, I'm really in the mood of adoration. Oh, Andrew, I love adoration as well. It's awesome. I wish I could get to adoration more often. Oh, Monica, yeah, going to adoration is amazing. It just is so peaceful, so comforting. I love adoration, so yeah, I'm definitely planning to do adoration on Holy Thursday night, because most churches will have adoration after the Holy Thursday Mass. So that's always wonderful, just to sit, and it's getting dark out, and there's usually just some candles lit around Jesus, and it's just one of the best things ever. Okay. And then this is a prayer card I've been carrying around this Lent. It's one I got a few years ago. I think my mother gave it to me. It's the Sorrowful Mother, and it's just amazing. A cute little prayer card. I love it a lot. It's one of the laminated ones, so it doesn't break, which is really nice. And it has a prayer to the Mother of Sorrows on the back. So that's another one that's usually with me, has been with me during Lent. I usually carry at least one prayer card with me, no matter where I am. Okay, let's see. Okay, Kristen Howe had asked if I could explain how I journal, because I mentioned that I journal in one of my videos, and it's kind of hard for me to explain how I journal, because it gets to be quite personal, kind of, so I'll do my best. I address most of my journal entries to Jesus, or to one of the saints, or to God the Father, or to the Blessed Virgin, and I usually start them with, "Dear Jesus, I love you so much. Thank you for all that you have given me," and then I just talk about what's going on in my brain, and it gives me a way to process what's going on in my life. So that's typically what my journals entries are like, and sometimes they're very emotional sometimes, but they're very, very personal journals, so I really am not going to show any of them to you. So yeah. Okay. When I had asked for questions on Twitter like a month ago, one of the questions I got was from Mara, who asked for advice for young adult Catholics in college. And the only advice I really can give is don't stop going to church. Just don't stop going to church. Don't let people test your faith too much. I mean, it's you stay strong in your faith, and other people will see that you're strong in your faith, and it might encourage other people to be strong in their faith as well. It can be very difficult if you're on liberal college campuses, even conservative college campuses, I will say. It's sometimes hard to be the Catholic Christian in the room, and everybody can judge you for it sometimes, but it's important to stay strong in your faith, even when everything around you seems to be questioning it and wondering why you don't do what everybody else does. So, yeah, don't stop going to church, and just stay strong, even when it gets tricky. Okay. Kathleen Marcellus has asked, who is my very favorite saint that I have a devotion to? Oh, I took my prayer card out of here because I was going to remember to show you. And now I've set it down over here. One moment. So, I took the prayer card out and I put it in my little prayer card book, I think. So, what's a favorite saint I have a devotion to? Let's see if I can find her in here quickly. Saint Nymphna. She's pretty awesome. She's a saint she was from Ireland, and she's an amazing young woman. She had a lot of issues in her life, so she ended up having to run away from her uncle and founded like a home for people with mental illness a long, long time ago, which before mental illness was really well known, so she's pretty awesome. Andrew asked, weird question, what's it like being married to Jesus? It's strange sometimes to remember that I'm wearing my ring, like I'm married, like Jesus is everything to me. And sometimes it's hard to remember that, but everything is for him that I do in my life. So it's kind of weird to explain, but I feel such a sense of joy just being able to go to church and sit in Mass and receive Jesus. It's awesome. Oh my gosh, yes, it's almost 3 months. I know, Lisa, it's been crazy. Yeah, has anything surprised or delighted me that I wasn't expecting? Yeah, just the sense of peace I get, just that I know that God will take care of me, even when things get tricky. It's like things will end up being where however they were meant to be, as long as I'm doing my best and trusting that I will end up where I'm supposed to be, no matter what decisions I am making. They're hopefully good ones, right? But no matter what decisions I decide, like big decisions, like job type decisions, God will help take care of which job I'm meant to end up in and all of that, or big decisions like that is just great. Oh, I agree, Monica. To fall in love with Jesus is the greatest romance. Yeah, it's hard to explain because it's so a lot of that's what I put in my journal, so it's hard to explain. Okay. Let's see, what other questions do I have? Oh, how do I spell the name of the saint I mentioned? Dymphna. D-Y, D-Y-M-P-H-N. Let's see if I can get it to focus on there for you. Saint Dymphna. She's pretty awesome. Oops, if I can get it circled under there. Not used to using a webcam on this, so she's pretty cool. And I'm gonna say something else about her. I forgot. Oh, I was gonna talk about my computer. So my laptop that I was going to live stream on so that I didn't have to sit in this space, because right now I'm using my desktop, it ended up dying, so that's kind of sad. Oh, Sergio Morales. Why do they cover the statues during Lent? Last weekend, the readings in the Latin Church for the Latin Rite, Latin Mass, Extraordinary Form Church, Jesus withdrew from the people and went out into the desert. So we cover the statues. Some people do, especially in the Latin churches where they speak Latin, yet the Latin language churches, they cover the statues in accordance with he went away and he was in hiding until the resurrection, kind of a thing. It's a reminder that this whole world is changing, and it's kind of interesting. Not every church does that. Only the more traditional ones do now. I know my church does not cover statues. Yeah, I never actually knew that people covered statues until after high school. So that was interesting to learn that as a young adult. Really, I was like, why are they covering the statues? And I found out, yeah, it was because of the Bible reading for the week before Palm Sunday. So in the Latin, I don't know if it's the same. I don't think it's the same one in the English. Yeah, I think it is. If Jesus went out into the desert and withdrew to be tempted by the devil. So I think that's how it goes with that one. Oh, I did write down a story I wanted to share with you all. So I don't know, I'm trying to see if I can find my scapular. So I wear a scapular, the brown scapular. You may have heard of it. And I really love my brown scapular, but sometimes it tries to choke me, especially when I'm doing more active things and you end up being choked, almost death by a scapular. I thought it was something funny I needed to share with you when I was just waking up some mornings and it's like, I feel like I'm being choked and I'm like, what's going on? Why is my shirt so tight? And it's my scapular that's trying to choke me. Okay, Monica asked if I'm familiar with the 7 church devotion on Holy Thursday. I've heard of it a few times. I have never lived anywhere where there were actually churches that I could go visit more than my parish church, because I live in the middle of nowhere. So I've never done too much with the 7 church devotion. I've heard of it. For those who don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, Monica, but it's you visit 7 different churches on Holy Thursday as a kind of a pilgrimage, and that's a really awesome devotion, but I have never really participated in it, and I don't know too much about it because where I live there is one church, and that's it. So I've never had the opportunity to do the 7 church devotion like that. Okay. Let's see. Where did I put my other questions? Okay. I'm thinking I'll stay on for about 15-ish more minutes, possibly longer if I get more questions, because I'm getting low on my questions here. So let's see. Kathleen Masalis had asked, well, she said her daughter asked, what's daily life like? In a lot of ways, my daily life is the same as before my consecration, same as everybody else's. I have a job I go to. I do online grad school courses. I have to feed myself. I have to do all of the stuff that normal people have to do. But then my life is also very, very different because it's all centered around Christ. And Christ is the reason for everything. And that's just an amazing way to look at it. And it's I have to put prayer first in my life. Before anything else comes prayer in my life. And so sometimes that makes my daily life look a little different, but for the most part, I kind of feel like I'm just like everybody else, even though I have a very different view of what everyone is, I guess. It's hard to explain how my daily life is different because for me, it's just my life. It starts with prayer at the beginning of the day. I wake up and I pray, and then I do what I need to do to get ready to go to work. I go to work. If I walk to work, I'll pray while I'm walking to work, and then I'll pray when I can at work, and then when I get home from work, I'll pray again. I'll do some grad school, and then I'll pray again, and then I'll eat and pray before bed. So it seems like prayer is really the main part of my day. Maybe I should do a video on a day in my life with prayer or something, because I guess I have a lot of prayer in my life. I never really thought of that. Okay. Mary had asked if I could make a video for those who are considering becoming a consecrated virgin with advice, and that is a video I want to make at some point, but I'm not sure that I'm the best person to make that video. I know it might sound weird, but I didn't have a whole lot of help in discerning my vocation, so yes, I would like to give help to others, but I don't know that I know enough to give enough resources. I know what books I used, I know what resources I used. I could share the resources I used for discerning my vocation, but that would be about it. I can't share too much because it's so individual for each person. Each person discerning this vocation needs to find a spiritual director and really go through the process with the spiritual director, which is kind of cool. Andrew asked cats or dogs. Can I answer both? Growing up, I had dogs, and then I have a cat right now. She's actually technically my dad's cat, but she hangs out with me most of the time. So I say both. I would love to have another dog again someday, but right now it's just not possible for me. So yeah, I'm kind of both. Both dogs and cats, I suppose. Oh, sorry. My sinuses have been a little bit crazy with this wonderful weather we're having. Like, it was snowed this morning and then it rained and the weather can't decide what it wants to be. And that just annoys me a little bit. So I wanted to also share with you that I am really looking forward to the Holy Triduum. I have been preparing some videos for next week. If you have any suggestions you'd like, for sure, I know that I'm going to have, I think, 3 different versions of Way of the Cross, because I love the Way of the Cross, the Stations of the Cross. I love to pray them, so I figured I would do 3 versions of them during Holy Week, so we can really all meditate on the Way of the Cross together. Okay, Pamela asked, how do I find or make time in my day for prayer and reflection, especially with my hectic schedule, and do I have any tricks for making time? The thing is, I wake up earlier than most people. I set my alarm. My alarm goes off at 5:20 a.m. And I usually make myself get out of bed by 5:30 so that I do my morning prayer and I'm done with morning prayer by 6 a.m. So that way I can be getting ready for work, because I leave for work shortly after 7 usually. So I just find that if I put prayer first, I have not really I don't read a whole lot of novels anymore, not that I'm in grad school and have to worry about putting that in my schedule. I also don't really watch a whole lot of TV now that with grad school going on. When grad school takes a break, I am able to put more things into the time that grad school takes up. But I really just put prayer first, and it's kind of hard to explain. And I just try to put prayer first, and I make everything else fall around it. There have been times, I'll admit, where I didn't eat because I was like, I need to pray, so I'm going to skip a meal. Yeah, I shouldn't do that because I know that my body needs food to function. So, yeah. I just don't really have any tricks besides just you need to do what works for you, and it's okay to start small with prayer. You don't need to pray everything all at once. When I first started out with daily prayer, I actually started with morning and evening prayer, and then I added night prayer in. And then my rosary and Divine Mercy Chaplet came after that, because I didn't want to overwhelm myself. And it actually, before that, it even started with just a morning offering in the morning and the guardian angel prayer at bedtime when I was younger, because that's how I accustomed myself to daily prayer. You don't have to do everything all at once. It's okay not to do everything all at once, and just do what you can in your life. I'm pretty sure Jose Maria Escriva says it in The Way. He talks about how even though when you're busy with life, you can make your whole work of prayer by offering everything you do to God. And that's a really awesome way to look at it, and to follow what St. Paul says, that we should pray without ceasing, which is difficult if you're thinking of reciting prayers without ceasing, but it works better when you're thinking in the form of offering my whole day to God. So that's what I try to do. Okay, Lisa has asked, is there a nationwide community of consecrated virgins where you can talk or help each other? Yes, actually. There's the United States Association of Consecrated Virgins. They have a website. I believe it's consecratedvirgins.org. And they have a national convocation once a year. They meet for about a week. And then they also have an information conference for those discerning, discerning the vocation. I can't speak today, I'm sorry. So they have the convocation, which is a yearly meeting of consecrated virgins who are already consecrated or have been accepted by their bishop for consecration. The discernment retreat information conference is for those who are discerning or those who help those discerning the vocation, and they answer the questions of getting into the vocation. I attended an information conference 2 years ago now, and it was really awesome. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Trying to think what else they do. They have a newsletter that goes out. I think it's bi-monthly almost. And I think there is even, for those who are part of the association, there's also like a weekly, I want to say, or bi-weekly email that goes out to them. I'm not entirely sure on that one. I can't remember off the top of my head. But yes, Lisa, there is the United States Association of Consecrated Virgins, usually abbreviated as USACV. Okay, Sergio, do you ever talk to Allie Marie? Yes, I have talked to Allie. I've also, I know Allie a little bit from the Catholic YouTube Mastermind group and the Catholic YouTube Hangouts and stuff, and she's really awesome. She's pretty cool. Yeah, I like Allie. Lizzie's Answers, I know who she is. I've watched some of her videos, but I have never met or talked to her. Yes, I have a little bit. Take that back. I've talked to her a little bit. Not a whole lot, though. And Catholic Mom. You're talking about Catholic Mom's Life with Heather, maybe? Because if so, I know her a little bit just from doing her What's Up Christians tags. I don't actually know her. So, yeah, I'm kind of isolated in the middle of nowhere, Montana. So I don't live near enough to anybody to actually have real hangout type things, if that makes sense. So, but yes, I talked to some of them. So yeah, that's kind of what my life is, just a little bit crazier than most people's, I think, with everything that I managed to fit in somehow. But that's the way it is. It's water, don't worry. I've had enough coffee today. I just needed some water. Let's see, what else was I going to talk about today? Got some other note cards to look at. Okay, Monica had asked a while ago. Monica, who's on here, Monica, had asked that I feel like the more I try to be holy, the more I fail. Do you feel that way, and how do you deal with it? Yeah, I think everybody feels that way. A lot of the saints have even talked about how they feel like they're failing even when we all know that they were getting closer to God at that time. And sometimes failure is just a way to learn a little bit more, just to learn to trust more, that even if I feel like I'm failing, I might be doing something that God wants me to do, hopefully. It's kind of hard to explain. Hello, Maraki. Yes, tomorrow is the Annunciation of the Blessed Virgin. So that was when the angel appeared to Mary and said, "You're going to give birth to the Son of God." And she said, "Fiat, let it be done to me according to your will." It's an awesome feast. I actually think that the Catholic Church has transferred it because tomorrow is Palm Sunday. They've transferred it, I think, let me look it up. I know they transferred it, though, because everyone's was freaking out a little bit about how they were transferring the Feast of the Annunciation this year. Not freaking out, but I just know some of my friends were just like, why? So, Annunciation, I think, I don't remember when it is. The Annunciation has been transferred in the Catholic Church to April 9th this year, so that it falls after Holy Week and Easter week. So it's a little bit weird that they transfer it, but somehow they did that. So I'll celebrate the Annunciation tomorrow and on April 9th. So I'm okay with 2 days to celebrate. It is an amazing feast, Maraki. Okay. Oh, yeah, Pamela, thanks so much. Yeah, thank you so much for saying such things. I like making these videos, and it's been a lot of fun. I want to continue to make videos after Lent is over. I haven't decided on my schedule quite yet. I'll definitely be sharing that with you. I'm hoping to make about 3 videos a week, maybe 3 or 4 videos a week, just to stay active and to stay doing these videos because I enjoy making them a lot. So, okay. Yes. Okay, let's see what we got. Alsabiladiki has asked why I did not stay in the convent. Have you been in a Benedictine convent? No, it was not a Benedictine convent. I was with the Sisters of Mary, Mother of the Church, and I loved it there, but I knew that wasn't where God wanted me to be. I did have free will, though I could have chosen to stay. And the sisters would have loved me to stay, I'm sure. But I made the choice to leave because I felt that God was calling me to somewhere else. If I had chosen to stay, I know I would have done okay there. But yeah, it's kind of just different, I guess, that I knew God had other plans for my life. But again, with free will, whatever vocation we choose, God will work through that vocation for us. Okay, Monica. How does your church celebrate Palm Sunday and Holy Week? Well, we have Palm Sunday coming up. We have the Vigil Mass for Palm Sunday tonight, the morning Mass on Sunday, and for the Vigil Mass, we don't have a procession because our church is small. It's not possible to do procession for both. Well, I guess it would be possible, but they just don't do it. So on Saturday Mass, you go in and you grab your palm when you get in and you go to your seat and pick a pew, and it starts by, they do the first reading, the first gospel reading that usually precedes the procession is done by the window. We have a stained glass window in our church of the entrance into Jerusalem on the donkey, so that's where they usually stand there, the priest stands there for the first gospel, and then he processes into church instead of all of us processing in. But if you go to the Sunday service, they meet at the parish center next door to the church, and they have a procession from over there all the way into the church, which is always a lot of fun to do. And for Holy Week, we don't do a whole lot until you get to the Triduum. So we have the Saturday evening Mass, the celebration of the Lord's Supper, which is, I've loved that Mass so much. It's beautiful Mass to go to. And they do, I think they wash about 6 people's feet. They usually pick some of the kids who are going to be confirmed this year. So they'll be picking some third graders who are going, I think they usually pick 1 or 2 third graders. They usually pick 1 or 2 of the Knights of Columbus, and then other people in the church to come up to have their feet washed, which is always kind of fun. Just to watch. I don't like having my feet washed because I like my feet to be my feet. Maybe it's just a weird thing, but anyway. So there's the Triduum stuff, and after the Triduum, or after Holy Thursday, we have the procession with the Blessed Sacrament to the Altar of Repose, which is in our side chapel. So that's usually packed right after church, for people to pray. And I believe it stays open until there's nobody left in the church. Father leaves it open that long, which is really wonderful. On Friday, Good Friday, we have, I'm trying to think if I can remember it right. Where did I put I wrote it down because the schedule's kind of weird. Yeah, we have the Chaplet of Divine Mercy will be at, we have the Chaplet of Divine Mercy that the church is going to be praying together at noon. I know it's not the normal 3 o'clock, but noon, because 3:30 is the Good Friday service, and then there'll be Stations of the Cross later that night. So that's really a Holy Good Friday. I try to spend a few hours at the church, even though it's hard sometimes to spend that much time at the church knowing that Jesus is not there. I mean, it's just hard to, I find Holy Saturday and Good Friday after the Good Friday service just very sad times to be in the church because it's the only times when Jesus is not physically present in the church in the Eucharist. And so that's always, I try to spend time there though, because I know that I like being there, but it's sad at the same time. I don't know if that makes sense or anything. And then on Saturday we have the Vigil, and then on Sunday morning we'll have the daybreak Mass. Then we have a Mass in Latin, Father usually offers, and then a later in the day Mass in case people wanted to sleep in or something. Sergio, can a consecrated virgin have a boyfriend? Not sure how that all works. My niece asked me to ask. Yeah, no, you can't. A consecrated virgin has chosen to give herself totally to God. She belongs to Jesus Christ and no man on earth. Maraki, can you explain what a sacramental is? And I don't understand what an indulgence is. Okay, sacramental is anything that has been blessed or will be used by people to grow in their faith. Like rosaries are sacramentals, prayer beads, holy water is a sacramental. Sacramentals have 3 purposes, and I'm going to get them wrong unless I pull out mine. So sacramentals can be used to exorcise evil spirits. They can be used to bless, I think. We just talked about this in one of my classes. That's why I'm pulling up this. Okay. Well, I grabbed the wrong notes. It would probably help if I grabbed the right grad school notebook. I'm currently taking 2 classes, so I get them messed up sometimes. But, what is it? Okay, so Sacramentals, because they're so awesome that I wanted to make sure I tell you the right stuff. Sacramentals. Where? Oh my gosh, I am losing where we put it in here. I know it was in here. That's the thing. And I find notes and I can't find them. So, Sacramentals. Anyway, I can't find it right now. But Sacramentals, they do 3 things. They can exercise, they can bless, and they can sanctify, I believe. No quote me on all of that, but I think that's what it is. And the Sacramentals can just be used, and a sacrament gets its efficacy from Christ because it was founded by Jesus Christ. The sacramental gets its efficacy from the faith of the person using the sacramental. So that's part of sacramentals are kind of confusing sometimes. Okay, what is an indulgence? So an indulgence probably is not what you're thinking. Whenever anybody hears indulgence, they usually think of the church selling indulgences, which was never actually condoned. But, well, kind of, but it was rejected at Trent and all of that. You can't sell indulgences. Indulgences go on the fact that even after confession, there's still a debt kind of to sin. Because if I went and broke somebody else's window, and then I went and said, oh, I'm so sorry, and they say, I forgive you, the window is still broken and needs to be repaired. So even after sin has been forgiven, there's still repair that needs to happen. There's still attachment to that sin that lives within us. And purgatory is the time to purify us from that attachment to sin. And it's, no one's for sure how it works, but our time in purgatory is based on growing pure, being able to fully rely only on God so that we're not having attachment to sin and the things of this world. And an indulgence is somehow supposed to help lessen the time in purgatory by doing by growing closer to God on this earth. It's kind of confusing, and I bet the Catechism would have a better definition, but that would make have to find it real quick. Okay. Let's see. Indulgence. The remission of the temporal punishment due to sin whose guilt has already been forgiven. So, like I said, it's like if your guilt has been forgiven for breaking the window, you still need to fix the window. It's the temporal punishment, I guess. And temporal punishment is only taken away in baptism. So once you've been baptized, you'll start accumulating temporal punishment, and that's purgatory, where you need to purify yourself from the attachment to sin to grow closer to God. And yeah, the church has some requirements for when an indulgence can be granted and how it works, and nobody really knows when an indulgence is granted except for God. So it's hard to do. It's hard to get a real plenary indulgence. Partial are a little easier, because usually it's just you recite a prayer and stuff, and even then it's not always the same thing. But anyway, Monica, my favorite saint, one of them is Saint Dymphna. I also love Saint Maria Goretti. She's my patron. My name is after her. And then also Saint Lucy is pretty cool, because she's my confirmation saint. I love her a lot. Can I talk about my experience at World Youth Day in Krakow? It was amazing. I had a lot of fun, but it was also not quite what everyone would have expected. I actually ended up in the hospital twice in Poland because my asthma hates me. So I did actually get to go to most of the World Youth Day events that were going on. So yeah, but it was a lot of fun. I loved Krakow. I met a lot of amazing people. I actually still write to my host family in Poland. They're pretty awesome. Yeah, and because we stayed with host families for a few days before World Youth Day actually started. And yeah, we went to Częstochowa, which was really cool with our host families. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, Monica, you have the right catechism for indulgences. It's yeah. So World Youth Day, we stayed with host families in Bolesław and Slavkov, where our group from Montana ended up staying, and then we went on to Krakow, and it was in Krakow that before I even really got to do a whole lot is when I ended up in the hospital the first time for my asthma. I thought I stayed back and tried to feel better, and when I thought I was better, it was for the papal welcome, and so I walked with my group over to papal welcome, and I had to go to the hospital again after that because my asthma was not liking me very much. So I'm really grateful for all of my group that helped me out, but I spent most of World Youth Day in our hostel where we were staying, and it was kind of hard, but it was also gave me a lot of time to read through the books that they give you for World Youth Day, which a lot of people don't read through during World Youth Day because there's so much going on. And I got a chance to read through them, and I got a chance to really be present and to offer what I was going through to God for everybody who was there, and to really pray. And my parish priest was actually along, and he's my spiritual director, so I was able to go to confession to him a few times, and he even said mass for me at the hostel just for me, so it was pretty awesome. Yes, Meraki, it's like atonement, indulgences. Good, yeah, that works. That's another way to say it. I think is that probably what the Eastern Church uses instead of the term indulgences, is to make atonement for your sins. So, yeah, that's what I've got today, people. Yeah, so World Youth Day, it was really awesome. I could do more videos about it if you'd like. I mean, I survived most of World Youth Day on rice and French fries, which is probably not very good, but that's what I had because with my food allergies, that's all I could eat there. Okay, let's see. Any other questions I should answer before I call it a day? It's been great talking with all of you. It's nice to see all of you, to be able to interact. I'm hoping to be able to do live streams once a week. There will not be one next weekend because it's Easter weekend and there's a lot going on that weekend, but I will try to do one the week after. So I'm planning to do live streams probably every Saturday. I'm not sure. I'm not sure on times yet because it just depends what fits the schedules of everybody involved, such as me and my family and all of that. So I will do my best, and it also depends if I'm going to be attending the Saturday Vigil Mass or not, which is whether or not I can do live streams later in the day for time-wise. So I'm going to hopefully be able to do more live streams. I really enjoy interacting with all of you. It's great to see you all. Pamela, yeah, I should probably make some videos about my World Youth Day experience because it was amazing, and I would love to share it with all of you, and I have some amazing pictures that I could throw up there as well and talk about my stuff, so that would be really fun. I think maybe I'll try to do some of those for after Easter. Yeah. Okay, everybody, it was wonderful chatting with all of you. I suppose that I should let you all go because I need to get ready before Vigil Mass tonight, which is when my family has decided to go. And when I say my family, I mean my parents. So I usually try to go to church with my parents because they're awesome people and I love them a lot. So, yes, Monica, I will definitely pray for the children of the First Holy Communion classes and their parents. Our kids that are preparing are so awesome. I am so blessed to know some of them and in our church, and I'm very excited for them. In our church, they actually receive Holy Communion and Confirmation at the same time. Well, they receive Confirmation and then Holy Communion is how it works. In the same day, the bishop comes. It's really awesome. The kids are so excited about it already. Our third graders are really looking forward to it. Yes, April Grace, I will be praying for you. Okay, so Amy, sorry, I just said your username instead of your name. Sorry, Amy. Yes, I'll be praying for all of you. Please pray for me. Have a wonderful Holy Week. I'm hoping to post some devotional stuff starting tomorrow all the way through Easter. It's going to be days of devotion. So, yes, like I said, there's going to be 3 days of Way of the Cross for sure. I haven't decided on the other ones. I know I'm going to do my Holy Thursday reflection that I love a lot that I wrote last year. So I'm going to be reading that to you guys. And if you have any other suggestions for what you'd like to see during Holy Week, please let me know. I'll be praying for all of you. Please pray for me. God bless.